The UK government gives every adult a £20,000 tax-free investment allowance every single year. And every April, whatever you haven't used disappears forever. You cannot carry it forward. You cannot make it up the following year. It is gone. Most UK adults use a fraction of their allowance, or none of it at all. But even if you can't use all £20,000, knowing how to prioritise and split what you do have could make a significant difference to your long-term financial position. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how the ISA allowance works, which ISAs to fill first, and how to make the most of it whatever your budget. Every UK adult aged 18 or over gets a fresh ISA allowance of £20,000 at the start of each tax year on the 6th of April. That allowance runs until the 5th of April the following year. Use it or lose it. The allowance is per person, not per household. So a couple can between them shelter up to £40,000 per year across their individual ISAs. The £20,000 is a total allowance across all ISA types combined. It is not £20,000 per ISA type. So if you put £10,000 into a cash ISA and £10,000 into a stocks and shares ISA, you have used your full £20,000 allowance for that year. You cannot then put another £4,000 into a lifetime ISA on top of that. One important rule to understand: in a single tax year, you can only open and pay into one of each ISA type. So one cash ISA, one stocks and shares ISA, one lifetime ISA. You cannot split contributions across two different cash ISA from two different providers in the same year, for example. You can, however, transfer existing ISAs between providers at any time without affecting your current year allowance. Transfers do not count as new contributions. There are four main ISA types that sit within the £20,000 annual allowance. First, the cash ISA, a tax-free savings account paying interest, best for short-term savings and emergency funds. Second, the stocks and shares ISA, a tax-free investment account for funds, shares and bonds, best for long-term wealth building. Third, the lifetime ISA, a tax-free account with a 25% government bonus, limited to first home purchases or retirement, maximum contribution of £4,000 per year, which counts towards your £20,000 allowance. Fourth, the innovative finance ISA. This holds peer-to-peer lending investments, higher risk and less commonly used. Worth being aware of, but not something most beginners need to consider. Junior ISAs, which are for children under 18, have a separate allowance of £9,000 per year and do not affect the adult £20,000 limit. If you cannot use the full £20,000, which most people cannot, the question becomes where to put what you do have. Here is a simple priority order. Priority 1. Emergency fund first. Before you put anything into a stocks and shares ISA, make sure you have 3 to 6 months of essential expenses in an accessible savings account or cash ISA. This is your financial safety net. Investing money you might need in an emergency is a mistake that forces people to sell at exactly the wrong time. Priority 2. Workplace pension up to the full employer match. If your employer matches your pension contributions beyond the legal minimum, make sure you are contributing enough to receive that full match. It is the single best guaranteed return available to most UK workers. Priority 3. Lifetime ISA if you qualify. If you are under 40, saving for a first home or retirement, and unlikely to need the money before those events, the 25% government bonus makes the LISA extremely attractive. Maximise the £4,000 annual contribution before moving on. Priority 4. Stocks and shares ISA with remaining allowance. Once the above are covered, direct remaining contributions into a globally diversified index fund inside a stocks and shares ISA for long-term growth. Priority 5. Cash ISA for any remaining short to medium-term savings goals. If you have money earmarked for something specific in the next 1 to 3 years, a competitive cash ISA keeps it accessible and tax-free. Let's look at how this works in practice for someone contributing £500 a month, which is £6,000 per year. Following the priority order above, a sensible split might look like this. £4,000 into a lifetime ISA, assuming they qualify and are saving for a first home or retirement. That triggers a £1,000 government bonus, making the effective total £5,000. The remaining £2,000 into a stocks and shares ISA, invested in a low-cost global index fund for long-term growth. That's the full £6,000 used wisely, with £1,000 of free government money on top. If someone cannot afford the lifetime ISA maximum, even £1,000 into a LISA triggers a £250 bonus. The percentage is the same whatever the amount. Small contributions still benefit from the same 25% top up. Mistake 1. Leaving the allowance completely unused. Even a small monthly contribution into a cash ISA or stocks and shares ISA is better than nothing. The allowance does not require large lump sums. Set up a standing order for whatever you can afford and start immediately. Mistake 2. Paying into the wrong ISA for your time frame. Putting a house deposit you need in 2 years into a stocks and shares ISA is a serious risk. Match the account type to your timeline as we covered in the previous video. Mistake 3. Accidentally exceeding the allowance. If you put more than £20,000 total into ISAs in a single tax year, HMRC will contact you and the excess contributions will lose their tax-free status and may be subject to tax. Keep track of your contributions across all ISA accounts, particularly if you have multiple ISAs with different providers. Mistake 4. Not transferring old ISAs. If you have ISA accounts from previous years sitting with old providers paying poor rates, you can transfer them to better providers without affecting your current year allowance. Old ISAs do not expire and they retain their tax-free status indefinitely. If money is tight, the most important thing is simply to start. The ISA allowance does not require large amounts to be useful. Investing £50 a month into a stocks and shares ISA from age 25 could grow to over £120,000 by age 65 at a 7% average annual return. The allowance exists to protect that growth from tax. Even small, consistent contributions benefit enormously from decades of compound growth inside a tax-free wrapper. If you can only afford £50 a month right now, put it in. Increase it when you can. The habit of saving is more important than the amount in the early stages. To bring it all together, you get £20,000 of tax-free allowance every year. It resets every April and cannot be carried forward. Prioritise your emergency fund and employer pension match first, then a lifetime ISA if you qualify, then a stocks and shares ISA for long-term growth. Whatever your budget, start contributing something and increase it over time. The ISA is one of the most generous tax-free tools available to UK adults. Use it. If this video helped you understand how to make the most of your ISA allowance, subscribing takes 2 seconds and means you won't miss a video. We post twice a week on making your money work harder in the UK. And next up, we're moving on to first-time buyers, starting with exactly how much deposit you actually need to buy a home in the UK in 2026.